increase that base strength up 2 points from 20 to 22. A minor change there, but does help him out in that early stage, and of course, 5 ability. So we'll take a look at this game here, see how things will settle down in terms of the lane. Shouldn't be anything too crazy. I think Secrete will do it the most standard of them all. So they will put, alright, Kuroki on the anti-mage down here in the bottom. Oh, rocking some cool cosmetics. He's got the hood of the clergy. Very nice, interesting. Different take on the anti-mage. S4 will take the Brewmaster. Looks like he'll be headed to the mid lane. We mentioned Puppy on the Keeper of the Light, a hero that'll be able to make good use of the jungle, spamming those Illuminates. Simba, aka Fly, will take the Pirate Tide Hunter, rocking his flag, his pirate hat, and the Pirate Slayer's Cutlass. Oh, I love this set. Oh, and he got this one for visiting the workshop at the International. Oh, how nice. What a nice guy there. He'll be headed to the off lane, and that does leave Big Daddy here on the Earthshaker. Boots first, and probably a sign he'll be roaming around with a couple of those clarities. Dire side, we've got Team Virtus.Pro. Will be Yol taking point on the Bane. Jotum will be playing bottom, no surprise there. They'll be headed down bottom at least to get things started. Sadoy will take point on the Nature's Prophet, also headed down to that bottom lane. G will take the LC this time, so not the BZZ as we had expected. He'll go solo mid, and up in the top lane it will be BZZ taking the Viper. We'll see where these supports end up. It looks like they may just start in the bottom lane to try to make a little bit of space for Sadoy, and then I reckon they'll be moving around a fair bit and looking to set up ganks in other lanes. Initial wards come out. Dire Sentry in the tree line here to interrupt the pole camp. Bounty rune will come down bottom, and up top the first rune will be... hell is it? Where'd it go? I guess he didn't. Probably a regen. I guess he didn't fit. So initial runes, it will be Virtus.Pro that come out ahead, and Bane will get that little bit of extra experience under his belt. And Kuroki, he'll just get a decent creep block here. You'll start Stout Shield and just look to rack up these last hits. Blink at the first level. So, alright, Brewmaster versus LC, an interesting mid matchup. Brew should do pretty well with the Drunken Haze here. I reckon he'll put some early points into that. We'll see the Bane start off in the bottom lane. Moran has been roaming around and headed towards the mid, and now will just make her way down bottom. So they will try to not really keep Sadoy safe as much as just shut down Kuroki's anti-mage. Have a restart, so we'll be stuck in a pause here.
Hey, I'm back.
Alright, welcome back, Blaze.
So, looking here at the lineups here, obviously I did go with the anti-mage. Obviously, really cool choice here. How do you think it's going to fare if he gets... essentially, like, what I want to look at here is Kuroki wants to be pushing forward and breaking down towers by himself, while the team may be able to fight and counter-push elsewhere. But the risk of the Blink duel is the question here. Like, how do you deal with the fact that anti-mage may be forced to duel very frequently, get Fiend's Grip very frequently? Like, they have two really good hard lockdown disables for anti-mage, to the point that I almost feel like he can't play a counter-push style. He'll farm a lot, but as far as like taking on tier 2 towers, it comes at great risk. And although the mana break isn't muted in the duel anymore, I'm not so sure that he's going to be very comfortable towards even the split push style that we usually see.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That was my first thought, was they have all this great setup, and then they have arrows on top of that for when he's stuck in the duel, stuck in the Fiend's Grip, and even just the Nightmare to set up the Mirana, get everyone in position to jump on the anti-mage. This will not be an easy game for him. So it's sort of an interesting pick that we'll see how it works out. I have my doubts here just against this lineup, but I guess Secret confident in their ability to create some space, and I guess hoping that S4 will be able to fill the gap while he's still trying to come online with a fast Blink Dagger. It will be G taking the LC mid, and I think Brewmaster should have a pretty good time here. Overwhelming odds, of course, great. It's just a lane-dominating tool in general, but Drunken Haze should make LC's life a little more...
Yeah, so we'll see. Once the Tide comes back, he'll be in an okay position against BZZ. It won't be the best lane for him, but he's certainly going to get some good experience. So I think they're going to put a lot of reliance on the Primal Split plus Ravage. They're both going to hit 6 at about the same time, both in 1v1 matchups. So I think that that's going to be a big factor. Dodging the arrow ganks until the big ultis come online, and then using the Tide and Brew ultis to create space for the anti-mage so he can farm his jungle, he can do his thing, hit 3 AM as quickly as possible, jungle and then start picking off supports. As far as like mana bombs go, there's not that many that really you got to look out for. It's not like they're running a Outward Devour or anything like that. It's going to be heroes that have decent intelligence gains, but I think like Sidoi might have the most mana towards the mid game, and it's really not going to be that dramatic. Like, it's going to be a pretty big bomb, but he's not going to be able to just one-shot a team with it.
Yeah, there is some cute synergy just between Mana Leak and the Anti-Mage, so whoever they do want to drain the mana of and try and set up for the bombs, they will have the ability to do it. And I think Coddle, his Mana Leak did get a decent buff this patch. The percentage is now just straight increased to 5, so those value points are a lot more potent. The duration was also increased 1 second at each level.
Another disconnect, eh? Jeez, if it's not one, it's the other. There.
Big daddy.
The former members of Fnatic having some connection issues here, but yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
I definitely think the Mana Leak buff is relevant. Like, before it was a skill you wouldn't take. Like, you would ignore that spell until you had almost everything else taken care of. Here, I think you could honestly get a point at level 4 and find some relevance to it. At level 1, it's pretty strong, and it won't stop them from moving. They'll still be willing to move away from it, but it gives them cause for concern and may keep them in a stationary position long enough for Earthshaker to find a block. So we'll see how they react to it. But for now, yeah, it's just ISP issues, and we're back underway.
You tell him, Big Daddy. All right, here we go. Secret. They're in it to win it down in the bottom lane. This is erupting into an aggro try from Virtus.Pro as the supports are rotating over. Mirana and Bane still yet to skill anything, but it will probably be Nightmare and Arrow, and they'll be looking to pressure KuroKy. Now, looking at ward coverage, Radiant side have an observer, so they see it coming, and KuroKy will be able to position himself appropriately, and will just blink back to safety. And their initial rotation won't really yield much other than zoning out the Anti-Mage for a part of a second here. Sidoi is racking up the last hits though, and outfarming the Anti-Mage at least out of the gate. Brewmaster having a good time in the mid so far against the LC. It's pretty even, but both farming well. Up top, how are things looking out of the gate? Viper versus Tidehunter, not the easiest matchup, but we'll see initiation down bottom. Fissure comes out from onto Yol, and ponies will fly through, but not quite enough for a kill yet.
Yeah, I think there was miscommunication. I think they said block, and Kuro's like, oh, I'm going to block with the body, and Big Daddy's like, oh, I'm going to block with the Fissure, and in the end, they just get a good eliminate off. Not really the most consequential of movements, but it does force a few tangos from Jottam, maybe get an extra right-click here on Sidoi, so it hurts, but again, it's just a small little pinpricks going against him. We see the courier on the mid lane, that's Forrest just zoning out G. He's going to have to maybe bottle Crow here, because the runes are all gone.
Yep. And yeah, G's bottle will kind of top him back off, but S4 will be happy just to control this lane and find an invisibility rune in the bottle right now. Just looking to be level 6 early as possible, and actually not going for an early point in Drunken Haze, skipping it all together. I have to admit I'm a little bit surprised, but we'll hold that thought as down bottom. Big Daddy takes an arrow. The follow-up won't quite be there. Now the counter Fissure comes out. KuroKy getting a bit aggressive, has that first point in mana break, so doing some extra damage. And both sides pretty comfortable just chipping at each other. The big breadwinner, though, is Sidoi. AM 5-1 compared to the 14-5 of the Nature's Prophet. They're having trouble setting up kills, but BP being very successful in stopping this AM from getting momentum.
Yeah, right now this tri-lane kind of reminds me of how the old Crystal Maiden Anti-Mage Earthshaker tri-lane worked at like the 2011-2012 timeframes, but the problem is here you don't get as many right-clicks off on the Anti-Mage. It's more reliant on the Illuminate doing the work for you, so this it's gonna, whenever he casts that Illuminate, it's great because it does some damage, but it also pushes out the creep wave, giving KuroKy less farm as a result. Fissure not really going to do too much to Yol, and Nightmare I guess is just a... It's just a way to diffuse the situation in case there was maybe an arrow attempt or something like that in the wings.
Here's where things get a little bit easier for Secret. That first point in Chakra Magic, it's not the most efficient spell at level 1, but still adds a lot of sustainability, and now you see Jottam trapped on the side of the Fissure, will be able to level up Leap as he is sitting level 2, and just hops right over it. Still that even exchange back and forth instead of poke. That last hit war is going similarly, so prioritizing the farm on Sidoi is certainly good news here as he looks like to be moving towards some null tallies and has that Basilius picked up already. Brew finds the regeneration rune, and once more the bounty rune goes the way of Virtus.Pro, and it is Yol that picks it up to find some extra gold.
The funny thing is, I think that a multi-blade mail strat will work really well here if they do end up going for that. The Collegiate Commander, we mentioned it last game, is it's kind of core on her in a sense to be able to pick up the blade mail early, and you're going to probably see it on this null tally plus blade mail profit build. So getting 2 blade mails against the Keep of Light means those illuminates hurt him far more than they hurt you, and it actually could be enough that if they get like a third, that could be forcing him to stop illuminating because it'll kill him in the process.
Yeah, same story with the Mana Void, that just adds an extra layer of confusion for KuroKy. You have to be very careful about that timing. You can't really react to the Mana Void, but you can tell when you're low on mana, that's probably a good time to keep that up. Now in the top lane, Fly in some trouble as BZZ will dive in, found his level 6, so started off with a Viper Strike, but good footwork around the trees and some Arcane Boots will be enough to keep the Tidehunter safe. 5 minutes in, still no first blood.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising here, but the passivity is okay for both sides. Like, right now, Virtus.Pro, they're controlling the anti-mage fine for right now, and Secret, they're losing the lanes, but that was what they expected going into this. The enemy has some great lane controllers. What they're looking for is just to kind of hold the position, and they know this game is going to be a lot more than just the first 10 minutes they see. They're looking to drag this one out at least past the 45-minute mark, and Virtus.Pro, there's advantages to both sides of it, is the bottom line. So we'll see. Jottam maybe needs to make a rotation with Yul pretty soon to try to shut down the Brew, but speaking of the Brew, he's going to pop the split right onto G, who's using his press the attack to heal himself.
Yeah, I don't think this split will really yield much here. I mean, sure, he's doing some decent harassment damage. The boulder comes through and will do a good bit of damage, goes back into Panda form, but Yol's rotated over. There's the Nightmare to set it up. G has a duel. Arrow flies through, connects onto S4 from downtown. Some tower shots to help him out. Who will get the damage? It's G, but just barely. KuroKy joining the party, finds the counter kill. It actually goes to Keeper of the Light. It's a 1-for-1. Both mid heroes are down. Fly's coming over, not quite level 6, has no Ravage, but will be able to repel the forces of Yol. No points in Gush either. So 1-for-1, but first blood is drawn, and LC gets a very early bout of bonus damage.
Jottam almost didn't have enough mana for the leap there. One more hit, and he definitely wouldn't have. But as Anti-Mage is going for this 1-1-0 build, actually just prioritizing his stats above almost anything else because there's not that much magic damage flying about, he does not burn enough mana to prevent the leap. If he had one more point in mana break, that would have been different, but the skill ability he chooses will give him a lot more raw stats to work with. So Jottam gets out. G getting the first blood and the duel is the best way you can open this game for him, even if he does follow it up with a death.
Yeah, and KuroKy getting some much-needed momentum off of that. Just the assist makes that rotation worth it, and he wasn't really getting much from that bottom lane anyhow. Looking at the last hits, he's still only 12-3, comparing that to the Viper, who is 42-17, and even this Nature's Prophet, who he was trying to farm against, 31-8. Pretty big disparity there. And you'll see that reflected on the net worth. Even though it is tied up 1-1, Virtus.Pro with a 2,000 gold and experience lead. They could take a win here against Secret and continue this momentum. This would be absolutely huge. And not only would it be a big upset as Secret has only conceded 1 loss in this group stage, but puts Virtus.Pro 1 step closer to that top 4.
Yeah, and that loss was very early on. That was like that was the first game they played as a team on competitive sense. Sodoi will be pinned down here, and he is just barely, again, that Fisher just narrowly not enough distance. One more little tiny bit, and Sodoi would have had to try to go for the TP away, and yeah. He gets to stay on the lane as a result of that Fisher missing. Still going to go actually to the top lane, though. They look to push. 3 points in Nature's Call. Basilius needs to be turned on. Oh, they've got one on 633 that's on. And they're going to be hammered down on this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, meanwhile at the bottom Ruin Big Daddy will get dueled. Jottam's here, throws the arrow forward. They won't have enough damage to bring down Big Daddy to get the bonus damage, but he goes down nonetheless. G will try to TP home. The boulder will hit him in the face to interrupt it. Now KuroKy comes in looking for the counter kill, and they, well, will be able to find it. KuroKy doesn't get the last hit, but a kill's a kill. That makes it a 1-for-1. Now they're going on to Jottam. He'll leap, take a boulder to the face, and it's a double kill for S4. And great news for Team Secret. They do, however, lose their top tier 1 tower in the mix. The Virtus.Pro take a 2-for-1 fight, but get the tower out of it, and it makes it really advantageous for them across the map. Now we'll see BZZ pinned in down bottom. A nice fissure comes out from Big Daddy, and even a Ravage used for that. But Simba, oh my gosh, he'll go down to BZZ, and Nate almost finishes off Big Daddy. One more auto attack, and he would have been very close to going down.
Yeah, very nice Wrath of Nature from Sidoi, just making his mark across the map, whether it be through the TP scroll or through that ultimate. But we do see now that Team Secret have gotten a few kills underneath their feet. They're moving up in net worth, getting some relevant items. Like before, you didn't really see much from the Tide, but soon enough he'll be able to build up an item that allows him to enter the fights more rapidly. The Brewmaster has his Blink Dagger up. He can choose where those fights take place, and they can do a lot of work. Rocky will make his way towards Battle Fury long term and has a Ring of Health already for that despite a very slow start. But Virtus.Pro, it's on them to make things happen now. Blade Mail will be up soon for the Nature Prophet, Mechanism up soon for BZZ, and the Arrow down bottom. Rocky, pointed mana shield, her spell shield will help him out a little bit, but will it be enough? No.
Certainly not. BZZ just laying in the right clicks. Didn't even have a Viper Strike for that, but look at his build. 4 points in Nether Toxin. So once he gets down to about half health, that's when this just really makes a big difference. And oh, you saw it right there.
Yeah, that's what I like to call the Executioner build. In this sense, he wants to make sure that when they're low, they just get dropped down off with their heads. We do see S4 jumping in, eating the Viper Strike, and with no more skills to use, he's going to get pinned down.
Yeah, that's a dead S4, no Primal Split, and that's killing spree ended. Viper will get the gold. And Virtus.Pro finding back-to-back kills. It's a 2-for-0 down here in the bottom lane, and they'll just start pressuring this Tier 1 tower. There is no glyph for the Radiant, and Sidoi already using his Christmas trees just to intercept some of that tower damage and pull the creep wave off the tower. They've got themselves a siege engine, which means this push may actually be successful if Secret don't come to the defense. Big Daddy hiding in the tree line here. Not enough mana for a fissure. Does have some stick charges if need be, but now the mech has been delivered on the Viper, so he's pretty damn tanky. That'll heal up the creep wave, and they will not be able to commit to the tower as support does come in. Puppy off to the side. Big Daddy will eat the stick charges. Will connect with 2 on the fissure. S4 is here with the Primal Split, but he's pretty far back. The boulder will hit Sidoi. Smoke is used to try to make the retreat. There's that blinding light buff. Knocks Sidoi way far back, but the defensive Nightmare comes out. That'll buy him a little bit of time. Not enough to survive, but a noble effort from the Bane. Arrow flies through. Almost hits on Fly, but he will juke it as he sidesteps. Now G coming on down. Power treads get put onto Intel. Has that bounty rune in the bottle. And we'll have plenty of regeneration abilities, but S4 comes in. Here's the Ravage. G will get locked down. BZZ on the front lines. In some trouble. A beautiful defensive Nightmare. Slows down Big Daddy. There's the don't stop. Nice. BZZ dead in his tracks, but he'll mech up. Brings down the Earthshaker, and it's Virtus.Pro that are coming out ahead. Now the Viper Strike out on a Simba. Do they have the damage before the TP out? No, they don't. And BZZ will get his attack pressed. G still alive, turning things around. Down goes the Keeper of the Light. Now the duel on S4. It's Virtus.Pro that are grabbing the momentum here. He won't get the winner, but the Brew is down nonetheless. And Virtus.Pro, Blaze, who is this team?
I know, right? This is absolutely insane. I mean, the movement before was kind of predictable based on the fact there was no split, no Ravage for Secret to commit. They were just, generally, their game plan should have been just to hold into the tower and illuminate. But they didn't. They kind of forced the issue. They lost a few lives, and that gave Virtus.Pro a little bit of better handle on the game, so that when the split and Ravage did come through, staggered as they were, we got to see a huge impact from Virtus.Pro's counterplay. Now they've got the blink on the LC. G's still got that one winner under his belt, which is going to fuel his attack presence later on, and yeah, it really is Secret that just have to hold back, have to reserve as much as possible and farm up. We're going to see Simba farming with his Anchor Smash, as well as the 2 points of Kraken Shell. Only takes a little bit of damage from the Ancient Black Dragon. The big creeps give maybe just a little bit under 10 damage, but the rest are falling without doing anything to him, so he'll be able to get a nice chunk of gold, and we'll see who goes for the mechanism here. It looks like it's going to be Puppy, though, with that headdress.
Yep. Absolutely right. Big Daddy, he's found his level 6, as we saw in that last fight. First Echo Slam did a good bit of damage, but just not quite enough to turn things around. Tide Hunter pretty close to his Blink Dagger, about 500 gold away. But now VP in great shape, and also that Bane, man. He was making the plays happen in that fight. He was the one that really turned it around, that defensive Nightmare onto the LC. That's what put Big Daddy into the Nightmare, set up the kill on him, and the fact that LC was able to back up, sip that bottle, which was filled at the beginning of the fight, that's where the reinitiation came in, and the overwhelming odds just totally tipping the scales. So far, Bane, kind of my MVP on the side of Virtus.Pro thus far, but it's been a solid team effort. And looking at net worth, they're off to the races. Anti-Mage has found some recovery farm, though. Stopped off for Power Tread so that he's not super squishy, recognizing he'll have to be involved in these fights at least a little bit. 4 points in the stats does help tank him up. This Battle Fury will be a pretty lackluster timing, I guess, is the best.
Yeah, but still a necessity. He's going to be the sole carry here. He's the one that needs to put the game on his shoulders. I mean, obviously, S4 is going to try to do what he can on the Brewmaster, but he doesn't have the momentum to build off of it either. We're actually going to see a nice Fisher come out. BZZ singled out a little bit, can't get through that small gap, but he'll just deliver a couple auto attacks. Look at another Toxin do its work, but up on the high ground.
Yeah, Yol gets initiated on, Nightmare out onto S4. He'll try and make a run for it. The dunk used, arrow flies through, buys him some time. Mech from the low ground. Even the Moonlight Shadow's used. Do they have any detection? They don't. Yeah. But the Moonlight Shadow will be, or pardon me, the ponies, that's it. Illuminate will be enough to cut through the Moonlight Shadow. Winner comes out on the low ground as G secures the kill. They bring down the anti-mage, and some of the problems that we talked about, locking him down, no way to make it out. And it will be a 1-for-1, a good trade for Virtus.Pro, and of course G getting that bonus damage makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah, essentially right now, Kuro can't have his treads on anything but strength when he's anywhere near combat. Like, sitting on anti-treads, I'm one to just tread swap all the time and think like, okay, I can just do this, I can do this, I can do this, and you can go very efficient with your farming and things like that. But in this situation, there's so much instantaneous initiation. The Fiend's Grip will soon have a blink behind it. The Duel already does, and if he finds himself on anti-treads, he just drops too quick. In this case, his fate was decided by a double damage rune on Legion, but even still, it's difficult because essentially Secret weren't playing like a 4 protect 1 lineup there. They were let's go kill this guy, we'll go all bunch up here. They pick him off very nicely, but they leave the anti-mage high and dry. So it's all about positioning, it's all about keeping your most important person covered so that he can get this battle fury before 25 minutes.
Now arrow flies into Roche. They have a medallion, so he should go down pretty quickly here. Secret will have no way to contest this and have no visual confirmation either. So a nice early Aegis will probably go to the LC, but could also go into the hands of the Viper. He is the one with the open slot right now, so there you go. He'll be the one to pick it up. And G is just moving into fast Aghanims. He's got himself the point booster and the Ogre Club, so this Viper is getting
smoke.
Rather
Fiend's
tanky.
Grip down bottom. Kuro, watch yourself, man. It's going to be the blink away just in time. Fiend's Grip was in the animation, but he didn't get the chance. Now they're actually rotating to try to kill off the Bane. Not as quick as he'd like to be as the Fisher does connect, but can S4 get in for the haze? He does. Now chasing him down the long run. There's nothing to stop TP this moment, but as soon as Big Daddy gets in range, there certainly is. Nice. Nightmare, they're going to have to juggle it if they can stop this TP, but it looks like he's just going to be able to TP out. Or not try at all. Why is he not TPing?
Not going to try it. I mean, Kuroki has his ultimate, so the Mana Void... Yeah.
It's just, Kuroko, I mean, there's too many things on top of him. Like, in this position, when you're going for that play, you need backup, and it just didn't happen. So if he was fog juking perfectly, maybe he could have gotten it, but in this case he was just, they were right on top of him, and that's where the Blink Dagger, along with 3 points in Aim's Blink, are coming into play, fueling anti-mage's momentum.
Yep. G does have the Ogre Club now, so a little bit tankier, but Secret, they're on the offensive here. They're hiding in their jungle, ready to set the trap on Virtus.Pro. They know Jotum and G are hanging around in the mid lane here, and they do have a Ravage available as well as the Primal Split. So this is that time when Secret are certainly looking to, for a fight. Just take a look at Vision here. Virtus.Pro on the high ground, but G gets scouted out. Simba goes in with a gush. Do they have the detection needed? It does not look like it, and Moonlight Shadow will be enough to keep the LC alive.
Yeah, they had sentries for the last fight, but in this case they're empty-handed. G just going to TP back bottom. It looks like he wants a duel on AM, but Kuraki will just be sent back with that recall. It's actually weird, like casting these heroes that we don't get to see like at all, anti-mage and Keeper of the Light, you forget a lot of major aspects about the heroes because it's just, if you don't play them, you don't cast them, that just kind of slips your mind. But in this case, yeah, the recall is great mobility. We're going to be seeing that very frequently, and that allows Kuraki to just move across the map also rapidly and obviously build up his farm.
Yep, definitely. So the momentum will slow down a little bit. Still Virtus.Pro with a pretty sizable lead, 5,000 gold, 3,000 experience. Looking towards this Aghanim Scepter on the Viper, who's only 800 gold away. Big Ancient stack once more will go the way of Fly as the Anchor smashes him down. That's one piece of efficiency that Secret have been utilizing quite a bit here. We'll see initiation in the jungle as Puppy gets jumped on, but LC will just blink out as he sees support is inbound, forces out the mech, and that'll be the end of it. Meanwhile, up top, they see Kuroki. Bane will connect with the ultimate here. Sidoi comes in, has an Orchid. Kuroki completely locked down. The Soul Burn will be more than enough, and it's a solo pick on the Anti-Mage.
Yeah, it's so damn hard to beat Anti-Mage in this game. Honestly, like, even though it was their last pick for Team Secret, and they got the surprise factor in the fact that they were first pick initially, it's not working out for them. They have too many counters already that they picked into. So I kind of have to say this draft is a little experimental, because obviously this isn't the style we're familiar with for Team Secret. And along with that, it's just... They don't seem to be playing it as carefully as they need to if they're trying to make a pick like this work. There's just too much, and with the Orchid on top of the Fiends and the Duel, there's just AM has to have always like 2 people right behind him.
Yeah, this Prophet has found a lot of farm, and now another 1,500 gold, probably looking towards a BKB, and just a recipe away at this point. G will station on top of the high ground once more. Only 24 extra damage, but at 19 minutes, I guess that's not too shabby as they start pushing into the Tier 2 tower. Huddle, Illuminate to blast them back, Smoke to initiate, S4 goes in, Thunderclap, Primal Split, but Simba, he gets silenced by the Orchid looking for the Ravage. That'll stop him dead in his tracks. Moonlight Shadow flies through once more. Ravage will connect on 2. They've got a sentry down this time. G will try to heal himself up, but it's not enough. Has the Aegis of the Immortal, will be utilized at this point, and that's the only death so far in this fight. But Panda goes back into Brew form. Now G goes over, Duel onto Kuroki to lock him in place. The damage won't be there, and it will cost G his life. Kuroki just barely survives. They also lose their Mirana off to the side, and Virtus.Pro on the defensive. Sadoy will be able to TP home. Bane gets left behind, and it is just BZZ that is in the vicinity. He will be able to grab a regen and head to safety.
Mana Leak, pretty legit against heroes like Bane, and could have gone for the Magic Wand Arcanes to survive a little longer, but in the end he was still a dead man walking, and that's the kind of fight they need to really just bring this game back. Obviously, like we said, it's a game where they can take this late, and with the rebound gold on the back of that, they're going to bring their net worth, not necessarily cutting the disadvantage in half, but bring themselves into a position where they can take fights with their ultimates consistently, and in between that, just keep farming away, as Kuro does have that Battle Fury now.
Yeah, and at 21 minutes, pretty good timing given how slow of a start that he had. We'll find his level 13 here as we'll see this farm start to skyrocket. He's now number 1 on Team Secret, so already starting to close the gap. And a lot of that net worth lead is just a result of towers. It's 3-0 in total tower count. Secret have yet to secure a single Tier 1. So once they start knocking down those money bags, that's when we'll see this gap really start to close. G hiding in the bottom tree line here, scouting out Kuroki. And I don't think he'll be able to do much here, and may just need to blink back to safety before he gets scouted out himself.
They're actually going to start pushing top here, actually. Keep the Light is just essentially the taxi service for the Anti-Mage. Recalls him to the top lane. He TPs back to mid to illuminate down the wave, as they don't feel like that was a secure position for AIM to farm. But with the Earthshaker nearby to defuse situations with the Fisher, they feel a little bit more comfortable. For now, though, Sadoy will hold the line on the top, Puppy holding the line on the mid, and it is just going to be a stalemate across the board.
Yep. Okay. So, BKB almost done on the Nature's Prophet now. He'll keep the top Tier 1 tower safe. A nice ward comes down from Yol on the high ground here. And just looking at Dire Vision, they don't have a lot of wards down, but I think this is kind of a key placement based on how aggressive they've been. And they will be looking to knock down those Tier 2 towers in the mid and bottom pretty soon. Force Staff now on the Tide, and has mech been completed? Oh yeah, it was completed a while ago. Jeez. So everything just slowing down, and I think Secret will be pretty happy with that. That's just more time and space for their Anti-Mage to utilize this Battle Fury and start moving towards that critical mass.
Yep, but it's interesting that the Viper has kind of deviated from his point booster build-up that would assume that he's going for the Aghanim's Rush, and he actually just builds up towards this BKB, so it's going to be huge, nullifying the impact of all the supportive cast of Team Secret, and it's not like he's going to be right-click down anytime soon. With the Corrosive Skin, with the Mechanism, he is going to be surviving throughout the fight, and it's going to be just allowing him to keep delivering the right-clicks. There's nothing to stop him for the 10 seconds that he's up with his BKB, and at best they can just kind of anchor smash him, leave him alive, but try to limit his potential damage.
Secret moving towards the mid lane. Blink daggers and ultimates at the ready. Now Vladimir's offering has come out on the Brew. And yeah, BZZ, I like the choice to make the detour here. Has the value point booster and then the BKB. Just gives him a lot of effective HP. And 1,600 hit points is pretty good for a 23 minutes in Viper. Now the Big Daddy Blink Dagger is out, though. He's also found his level 11, so a huge counter initiation tool for Secret. As we've already seen a couple of big Echo Slams in games previous today, sort of just showing off the power of this hero when he's in, when he can find the right position, rather.
Yep. So the big thing here is Jono has to keep this Gem of Truth side up. He's got it for a very short span of time, and if he gets it picked off very shortly after, then that's going to be not... I mean, it's just going to give map control back to Team Secret. Every step that they take, dewarding and warding in the enemy territory to see where they're coming from, is space for Kuro to keep farming. But at least for now, we're going to see G make his TP up top. He doesn't have his BKB just yet, but Sidoi pops his immediately as soon as he comes in contact with Big Daddy.
Yeah, that's your 10-second BKB charge, just the TP to the bottom lane. He does survive, and to be fair, probably would have died as that fissure was mid-cast before Big Daddy cancelled it, but that's a valuable BKB charge, and Secret didn't really have to do anything besides look at it. They'll get the tier 1 tower in the top lane as S4 secures the last hit, and then they TP mid, ready to make the defense. Fissure will not connect on anyone. There won't be a fight there, but Kuroki in the top lane. He'll get jumped on. LC blinks over the tree line, but undershoots it. Won't be able to get the duel. Arrow flies through, hits on Big Daddy, but there's plenty of support inbound. Now Simba goes in onto G. He's lost his mana thanks to the mana leak, and Moonlight Shadow just won't be enough. He'll go down.
Yeah, thought he could do a lot with that double damage rune following up that arrow, but the vision they got should have showed that that was a really bad move. So he immediately gets gunned down, and Kuro's actually going to get recalled to farm some more. Looking at mid lane here, BZZ might have to BKB TP.
Yep, and that's exactly what it'll do. S4 initiates. They don't use any of their ultimates, but that's another BKB charge from the 10 seconds used completely defensively. And those are some big wins for Secret there. Maybe not in terms of net worth, but still good stuff.
Yep, so still at least they hold the gem. That's the pick-off that they received. They still are going to be carrying this pretty important item, because right now the Sidoi needs to keep farming as well. He's a pretty greedy hero, and he is just trying to CS in the lane as much as possible. He's actually going to be the fastest farmer, considering Viper and Legion just don't clear waves very quickly. Overwhelming odds is pretty solid, but that's only when multiple waves are amassing, not just the one. So Nature's Prophet will be moving up to the top of the net worth here, and that position he should stay unless this anti-mage really starts getting out of control.
Yeah, we'll see. Kuro is coming online slowly but surely here, Blaze. He went for the value Yasha to increase that farming potential. Now with the ultimate orb, we'll just go right into the Manta. A very core item against the Orchid of the Nature's Prophet, and once he has that, his survivability will be increased by a pretty big margin in these upcoming skirmishes.
Yeah, it's just the only core item that... It's the only hero that Manta is the must-have item. Like, there's no way you build an anti-mage without a Manta style immediately after Battle Fury. I mean, I have seen a couple AMs go for Heart and then Manta, but that's only in the rarest of cases where they just love to farm. And in this case, he wants to fight a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. G will have his BKB coming out now. Courier just about to deliver it. So that is the third Black King bar on the side of the Dire, and it looks like Yol will even follow suit. He's got an Ogre Club, and still quite a ways off, but looking for a lot of Magic immunity this game is now Viper, almost at his Aghanims, finally, halfway through that last piece, and he'll be there for those potent Viper strikes.
Damn. Between Blinding Light, Drunken Haze, and Ravage, there's no way for them to fight without BKB is the bottom line. If they're right-clickers, like the three central heroes here, or if the Bane wants to get a good Fiend's Grip off. That's just the most important thing. But if it's done right, you'll, even with a BKB, still should have some issues, because the Anti-Mage Mana Void does mini-stun through Magic Immunity. So with that, Yol has to be very careful about Fiend's Gripping the Anti-Mage and only the Anti-Mage, because otherwise it's probably going to get interrupted.
Yeah, Roche will go down in once more, uncontested on the side of Virtus.Pro. Aegis the Immortal will go to G's LC for the second time this game, and that Medallion, man, it just makes it so easy. Puppey will get caught inside of a Sprout from Sidoi, but he'll be able to TP home. No way to interrupt it.
They had a Blink Duel in range, but they just didn't go for it.
Yeah, that'll be the end of it. So VP will be eager just to pressure this tier 2 tower down here in the bottom, but up top, Kuro showing off that Manta style and doing a lot of damage to this tier 2 of his own. Dire do have a glyph. They'll use it now as Yol rotates up, looks for the Fiend's Grip, and will find it. Any TPs coming in? Yep, there'll be one. And it is G. Kuro will get dueled now, and they'll have the damage to bring him down. The tower helping him out.
Down
G
bottom.
will grab some bonus gold, well, he gets gold and some bonus damage. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they will just mount the retreat, and it's just a 1-0 across the map.
Yeah, they used the Primal Split, they got the Tornado off onto the Furion, and they stopped Sadoy from contributing to the top lane, but even so they couldn't net a kill, because immediately after he BKB TP'd out, and yeah, scroll or skill, it doesn't matter, he's going to be able to move across the map. So yeah, in the end, Split is used, and the Anti-Mage will fall. So it's a kind of two-front assault, but now in the mid.
Dunk right on the BZZ, he'll use his mech, but even the Ravage, just for this Viper, boy do they want him. Mana Leak will fly through, and they will end his spree. It is S4 who picks up a spree of his own, a little bit of extra damage, so now one step closer to his Black King bar.
The only reason they can use their ultimates in that fashion is because Roche is down for a very long time. If the Roche was respawning anytime soon, there's no way they could allow for both their Primal Split and Ravage to be on cooldown at the same time. But here, they can adjust their strategy, they just play defensively, hide under towers a little bit, and get the easy kill on the Viper, who is pretty high value in net worth.
Yeah. Still, this Prophet, as you pointed out, farming very well, maintaining his #1 seat, has moved into a Demon Edge, that MKB. The most likely choice, as we've talked about, a lot of blinds between the Drunken Haze and the Blinding Light. But again, G caught in a forward position, and he'll use his BKB. I think that's all 3 of their 10-second BKB charges were basically used for nothing to be able to survive. But that's, you know, that's about it.
Yeah, and that's obviously very unfortunate, because he wants to be BKB every time he duels. At the very least, even at its minimum duration, he's still going to be able to have his BKB for 90% of his max duel. So essentially BKB blink and then activate the duel, and you're going to be able to nullify any effects for pretty much the full duration. But yeah, the mischance mechanics are still going to be biting them a little bit later, especially if Brewmaster can find that Aghanim Scepter, and he casts his Drunken Haze from his Wind Spirit as well.
We'll see if he actually ends up going that route. I mean, I guess this Ogre Club could be the beginnings of an Aghanims, but
yeah, I guess
BKB.
Orchid, it's warranted, but
yeah. So, yeah. Sadoy very close to his MKB, that's what I was going to say. And also I just wanted to comment on how hard he's right-clicking. This is one of these games where the Prophet is really transitioning into much more of a carry-style build where with an MKB, he'll be clicking pretty damn hard. And with that Orchid in particular, he has a decent amount of attack speed, and that is something to be
coming apart.
Yeah, I don't think the split push Zoo build would go very well against the Keep It Light and the Necronomicons and such. Not that impactful. I did kind of, like I said, entertain the idea of a multi-blade mail build-up, but if one's not building it, they shouldn't be the others. Like, you have to get 2 or 3 of those to really make the impact known. Otherwise, yeah, this right-click build, getting the MKB up is his third alternative, and it's probably the must-have when it comes down to the mid to late game.
Yep, and Javelin's coming out now. VP will finish off the tier 2 in the bottom as well as the tier 2 in the mid. So that takes the tower count now 5-1, furthering Virtus.Pro's gold lead. Not really that much right now. It's a pretty even game in general. This next team fight should be rather telling. LC still has the Aegis of the Immortal, and we'll pick up that plate mail probably in Assault Karas. We'll see how they want to initiate this. Nature's Prophet, the only one not with him. They'll use the Moonlight Shadow aggressively. Secret are not wise to it. They have detection this time around. Yes, they do have some dust on the Tidehunter, but Puppy gets caught in the duel. He'll be the first to go down, and it's G who finds the bonus damage, now up to 56.
Yeah, just stacking it up. Again, this is something that you can't account for net worth-wise, so even in a situation where Secret rebounds on kills, the duel will remain, and it'll still be a valuable permanent effect that will continue to enhance its potential here. We're going to see the arrow just in case it could connect. Obviously, they have a... that was actually completely blind. If you look at Dire Vision, they just knew the Brewmaster was in that general area, but that was surprisingly close considering how little they knew.
Yeah. They'll move right into the tier 3 tower. The Glyph is not available. They get it down to half health, but in comes the Brewmaster. Primal Split, BKB, TP. Exactly what Virtus.Pro has been into this entire game. It will be Urana to get caught in the Tornado. Big Daddy almost stops him dead in his tracks, but will be able to leap Force Staff to the high ground. Tide will be able to Force Staff of his own. Jotum still in trouble. Won't be able to make it out, but a noble effort, does what he can. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Anti-Mage will finish off that tower, and he does make it back to safety. So Secret at least finds something out of that exchange. They get a counter kill and a tower.
So Puppy will be able to continue to lead this. It looks like he's going to be building up an Atos for himself, casual bit booster for now, but the only 2 options I can see there is a Crimson Guard, which isn't that valuable against a late game Nature Prophet and Viper, and of course the Atos as mentioned. So we'll see. Right now, obviously the BKBs are dwindling, so in the second half of the team fights, that might be a pretty valuable pickup. But for now, just some nice effective HP, and it looks like Kuro's going to be looking for this mid tower. G has the duel though, will overwhelming odds down the wave, and the tower stands just outside deny range.
Yeah, Kuro now picks up a Reaver, so he's just going full tank build and move into the Heart of Tarask, and there was a... did he sell the I thought I saw a Basher picked up. I guess he sold it back, then decided for the Reaver instead.
Yeah, I think I saw the same, so...
Yeah, okay. So instead of going aggressive, going to tank up. And I think that's kind of the right choice in general. If he can survive the duration of the duel, that's going to be your golden ticket.
Yeah, and I think at this position, like, usually you look at it and say, okay, the enemy has a lot of BKBs, Basher is great, but there are so many high priority targets that you can't just shut down one and say, okay, their damage is gone. If they were running a single core lineup, if they were running their own 4 Protect 1, Basher Abyssal would be absolutely insane because you take that damage off the table. But if you bash one person, there's still 2 right-clicking away, and in the end it just wouldn't be enough. So the Heart first, maybe the Abyssal next, but I think that's the right decision.
Definitely agree with that. Things slowing down quite a bit as the Rod of Atos is indeed the item of choice on Puppey. We'll have that complete now, and we'll just be stacking up the Ancients even more. That's one thing Secret have just been continuing to do this game, is stack their Ancients, capitalize on all that efficiency. Between Tide and Anti-Mage, they can do it pretty easy. Big Daddy gets interrupted trying to cast the Fissure, but we'll start it off with the dunk. In comes Simba, and there's your Fissure. Nowhere for Yol to go. And it'll just be a free pick-off on the Bane, of course, in favor of Team Secret. Nice use of the AM Manta illusions to take the Nightmare off of the Earthshakers.
Yeah, definitely. Not like that's a long cooldown to use or anything. The Echo Slam was actually very abrupt there because essentially he wanted to get the Aftershock stun off before the Nightmare, but he's just outside the radius, so in the end it's just a solo dunk that didn't do too much. But they get the initiation, they get the kill, and Virtus.Pro can't really move together when they really would like to. Essentially in this position, whether BKBs are still lasting and this AM is still vulnerable, they want to make their move. But now Kuro's taking another double stack on top of his Heart of Tarask, and we are going to be seeing this 6-slotted AM in no time at all.
Yeah, that's the power of the Anti-Mage, now taking over number 1 on the net worth chart, and seeing his enhanced mobility to much avail here. 2,300 gold already back up on him following that Heart of Tarask pickup, and 2,500 hit points now with Agi Treads. Yeah, he's pretty damn tanky, and things looking a little bit more difficult for Virtus.Pro. Still holding on to a minor gold lead, compliments of those towers. Things have slowed down quite a bit. G no longer has the Aegis of the Immortal, holding on to 3,500 gold. And I still think it'll be an Assault Cross with this plate mail, otherwise he probably would have picked up the Shivas already.
Yeah, no, there's no real reason to pick up the Shivas here. He needs to get the stats for the entire team for the AC, but even after that, I think he's probably going to go for a Monkey King bar. He could go for a strength-based item, Heart of Tarask, Satanic, both very powerful on the hero, but the mischance is going to be plaguing him for quite some time. We do see an attempt to kill off a target. Kuro's going to be walking right into the Moonlight Shadow, but he gets the Sentry Ward down. Or they walk into the Sentry Ward, rather. Yeah,
and the shit's right on the Sedoin. That'll be enough to repel VP, at least for now. Maybe dumb luck. Maybe they were a bit suspicious. So
they just warded right into that. He saw them attacking Invis heroes in that region. You got to figure. And I think Jotham's telling him, he was like, what the hell, man? But
yeah. That's a wasted ward. But BZZ will move into a Butterfly now. Has the Eagle Song and 1,200 gold, so not too far away from that big pickup. And yeah, fight will be dodged once more. Virtus.Pro just not really finding the opening to initiate that they've been looking for over the past 10 minutes or so.
Let's get out the Roshan. It's been about a minute and a half since the potential to respawn, but it is going to be just about 30 seconds more before we do see him coming into play. Bane looking to farm, before that fight, farm up the BKB so he can have near guaranteed ultimates on the Anti-Mage if he BKBs. But we're actually going to see initiation here just with the Nightmare, looking for the arrow, looking for the Fiend's Grip, and it should be enough to lock him down. The Ravage will come through though, and he's got that heart to tank up.
Yeah, Yol taking a lot of damage from Simba, but won't be enough to bring him down. Kuroki will survive the silences, manages to get off the stun rather, manages to get off the Manta, and oh G just barely gets the duel off in time to get that extra bout of bonus damage. And that is great news for him. So just a 1-for-0, good setup from the Bane, and VP will just get a pick off.
Yep, so
now Mirana gets isolated. Kuroki goes in, leap into the tree line, and will try to force staff TP, and Jotham will not be successful. Takes a fissure, and that'll be the end of him. So it ends up being a 1-for-1. still better for VP, again, because they get the bonus damage, and now they move into the Roche pit. So that Mirana hanging around, kind of some space created. Will they be able to bring down Roche fast enough? As Secret are starting to rotate over, and it looks like they'll be able to do it.
Yep. No medallion, but they'd get the AC in range, and Secret were focused on taking the tier 1 and let Kuro do a thing up top. They do have the Mantis now on cooldown, so there could be an Orchid window of opportunity if he pushes in, but he's just kind of playing around right now, and actually looks like he thwarted a D-ward attempt on that plateau to the north, so they're actually looking to let that one expire and go back to farming.
Viper Strike on the Brew does force out a BKB, and he will just head for the hills. The Earth Panda going for the Mud Golems, and S4 will survive. But that is a BKB charge down. That was his 10-second BKB.
Why did he use the BKB exactly? There's nothing that he would really be preventing there.
Yeah, he got Viper Struck and decided, hey, this is scary.
Okay.
I want to try to get the hell out of here. But of course, it doesn't dispel the Viper Strike, but that's what started it off. I don't know. So then went into Primal Split right after that. Definitely was not the best use of the cooldown. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
the
only reason he should be BKBing ever is if he's afflicted by Orchid. It's just something that he should hold in reserve unless, yeah. But all the same, it's just a reactionary thing, very common, and we're going to see G single out Puppey. He does get hit by the Mana Leak, but he will get that off with that press the attack, and Yul's going to be singled out on the other end of the fight.
Yeah, he had AM stuck inside of the Fiend's grip, locked him in place to secure some space for Puppey to go down. Now the rest of the fight will break out. BKB's used. Kuroki doing as much damage as he can. S4 will get taken down. No BKB or Primal Split available. Now Kuroki on the run. He's silenced. Viper Strike will fly through, but he blinks just in time, and he'll be able to TP home and just barely survive. Still, Virtus.Pro find the fight they were looking for and get a 1 for 2.
Yeah.
S4 really wishing he didn't waste all of his big cooldowns in that last skirmish.
I suppose, but all the same, if Simba hadn't force-staffed out Kuroki there, then that would have been a devastating loss. They would have lost the Anti-Mage, they would have lost, obviously, the 2 heroes that they did, and they would be losing their racks right now. But, fortunately, the MVP force-staff pulls him out, he survives, he buys his Basher, and he's looking to fight on the front lines once again.
Yeah, Glyph is available. This won't be an easy high ground breach for Virtus.Pro, and I don't know that they'll even really want to go for it. There is a buyback, no buyback available on the Panda, pardon me. No, they won't go for it. They'll just go back to farming and be happy with that successful fight. Viper now has enough to complete his Butterfly, still holding on to the Cheese, and Aegis of the Immortal still in the inventory of G on the LC. Still plenty of time left on it, and now the Scythe of Vice on the Nature's Prophet. So this Sadoy, he is still so stacked, keeping up blow for blow with the Anti-Mage in terms of farm. Virtus.Pro are still in this game, man. They're holding on to a decent lead, and this is still pretty damn even.
Yeah, enough kills have come out for Team Secret that despite the major net worth advantage in general, Anti-Mage is at the top slots, but now Yul gonna get picked off here. Not even any major cooldowns required to pick him off, and essentially this makes the dire jungle theirs. Like, maybe Sadoy can go for a split push play down bottom, but across the board, the Secret have just gained all control of the map for the next 35 seconds. But yeah, as far as progression goes, S4, don't know if that was just creep clear or almost actually got Jottam. He's going to leap across and they might find him. There's the Mana Leak. Forced to wait means he can't TP. No mana for TP. He is going to go down.
Yeah, noble effort on that Force Staff, but the Mana Leak really working against him there. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we'll see another victory for the LC as they isolate the Brewmaster. We were watching Jottam, but they'll be pretty happy with that. Now 110 damage on the LC. This is when G is really starting to get out of control, and looking towards the late game, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, and this is one aspect that the Brew can prepare for. The Hex coming out on the Nature's Prophet. If he catches him off guard, gets the Hex off, then that Brew is dead. Can't evade, gets hit by a duel or whatever, and it's just not a good time for him. He's been trying to build up this AC, but as you see, he's bought out 3 components in his stash and hasn't progressed since then. We do see on top lane, the Fiend Script coming out.
Yeah, BKB used by Sadoy, but in comes Big Daddy. That'll interrupt Yul. He'll go down. Big Daddy will
Still
get
have the Abyssal too
as well. Yeah, Abyssal is up on Kuroki. Oh no, now they'll lose their Nature's Prophet. He'll just start going hard on this tier 3 tower. Virtus.Pro do have a glyph. A buyback status is here on the Nature's Prophet. Negative for the Bane. And they may need to consider using it. G goes in, duel onto Simba, putting out a lot of damage, but Kuroki, he finds the easy kill on the Mirana. Another bout of damage coming the way of G. Kuroki gets Viper struck, will TP home, and will survive. Tier 3 tower takes a lot of damage, but Virtus.Pro do come to the defense and will make a hold.
Yeah, so it's nice, but they shouldn't feel like they have to hold at this point. They have the farmed heroes, they have the net worth advantage, but in the end, just losing a couple of pickoffs on the supports and such, and it's just becoming a very bad time. I mean, the support Mirana is going to be at this item level for the rest of the game. She'll keep buying wards, and she'll just keep this boots of speed and force staff because she just died twice in a row. So as the S4 Brewmaster farms down on bottom is going to progress towards the AC, and Team Secret gets to a point where they can actually progress. Virtus.Pro seem to be stagnating at this point in time. Like, where do you go for the Nature's Prophet here, for example? But first and foremost, G getting bashed up, and they do still have that Abyssal Blade. It could be an easy kill, but here comes BZZ to help them out.
Yeah, BKB's used. There's the duel onto Kuroki. The Nether Toxin doing a lot of work here. We've got a winner. And it's LC that ends the mega kill streak of AM, losing all of his mana, may still go down as Big Daddy connects with the stun.
That blinding
light knocks him to the low ground, but Sadoy coming in doing a lot of damage here. The buyback from the anti-mage, looking to get back into this fight. He's here already. Sadoy on the back foot. Puppy will survive. And where's the rest of this fight going to go? Moonlight Shadow flies through. Sadoy will be able to scoot back, but Fiend's Grip out on Kuroki. That'll push him back. Viper does lose all of his mana, gets stunned up. G in the front lines. Now the Ravage flies through, connects on all of Virtus.Pro. It's a double Ravage. The Refresher's online for Simba. They'll lose their Prophet, Mirana, and Bane all simultaneously. G going one way, BZZ the other. Mana Leak will stop him dead in his tracks once more, and Viper will go down. It's Team Secret that'll come out way ahead with a full team wipe as G just seconds from going down. The buyback from Anti-Mage proves worth it, and now they'll head straight for the base.
Worth it. That was absolutely devastating. He's not able to actually farm the waves up here, just clearing them out to push, since he won't get any gold, but man, this has just been the best comeback from Team Secret throughout this entire game, but especially in that big fight. Obviously, the duel isn't what they expected. They get turned around just like that with like a 3 versus 1 play, but they got back into it. Now they can recall the Anti-Mage and bring him to the front line if they wish. For now, he pushes out on the top so they can have 2 waves pushing in. And as far as buybacks go, the Virtus.Pro might have to pop 2 more. Like, in this position, they have to hold their racks.
And there's no glyph available. Anti-Mage doing a lot of damage up top. Arrow flies through. He'll blink just in the nick of time. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, they will do about half damage to the Tier 3 tower. They force all the buybacks. 1, 2, 3 on the Dire side. Virtus.Pro hold, but boy, is that costly. And just looking at the net worth graph, Team Secret just jetting upwards as things looking a lot better for them. But LC will now move into a Skull Basher.
Yeah, I mean, it helps, but until he gets the full Abyssal Blade, it's not going to deal with the issue that presents them. He has a 6-second BKB, and he doesn't have enough to nullify both the double Ravage, the Drunken Haze, and the Blinding Light. Like, as long as they don't use all of them within the 6-second frame, he's going to take some major disables, and that means he won't be staying on target. He won't be delivering the damage he needs to. So Basher's nice, but when you're attacking as slow as she is, I mean, the Treads and AC obviously supplement, but she's... What I'm saying is, with the RNG involved, you're going to get a couple hits, you might get 1 bash, but it's not going to be enough to shut down the AM if he's in the right position.
Yeah, he's now up to 4,200 gold, hasn't picked up BOTs yet, and of course buyback is on cooldown for him, so might as well just spend this money sooner rather than later. A lot of it's reliable gold, so he'll feel comfortable kind of hanging on to it, I suppose. VP still have a tier 1 tower standing in the bottom lane. Secret could just move down that way and find some extra gold. And also just important in context of dealing with Roche, it'll be a very long respawn for Roche number 4. And no Aegis or Cheese coming out anytime soon, both of which were used in that last fight. Initiation, perhaps onto Big Daddy. He's invisible. They have no gem up at the moment. He's got a gem, so he knows that the Moonlight Shadow is here. He's scouting it out. Meanwhile, up top, Kuroki will get initiated on. S4 caught inside of Fiend's Grip. Viper Strike, and oh, he gets off the split just in the nick of time. Now they'll turn it around. Simba goes down. They also lose the Mirana. Sadoy getting focused hard. Looks like he'll be the second to go down. Big Daddy.
Ty got recalled in.
Charged up Totem.
2 Ravages.
Oh, wow. Sadoy, or pardon me, Simba comes right back in. Oh, and BZZ, the double Ravage. Too much for him to handle. The dunk flies through, and it's just the LC that's alive, stuck inside of the tornado. It'll be a full 5-man wipe in exchange for none. And that may be the final blow on the Virtus.Pro. Buyback status is nil. They don't have a single one. And that should be a good game.
These buybacks, man, absolutely insane. Karaki getting into the fight with the recall, Tide getting into the fight with the recall, back-to-back fights, absolutely dominated by this Keeper of the Lights recall. MVP skill, they keep people alive long enough when they need to. And I can't say Virtus.Pro played that fight poorly in any capacity. They got the Fiend's Grip on Brew right when he blinked in because they precast it. So he blinks in, he gets Fiends, almost didn't get the split off at all because they were focusing him so hard. And then when the Tide tried to cancel it, the LC gets the duel on him. So they shut down these two big initiators for the first few seconds of the fight, but still the Brew gets the split, and Tide had that buyback plus refresher. So he goes in, he gets the two Ravages, they hammer it home, and Team Secret is victorious here, 48.5 minutes in.